A lot of my life I was really feeling uncomfortable around kids and not knowing how to act and not knowing how to play with them. And I'm like, well, when I have a kid, am I going to know what to do? And so maybe you're watching this video today and you're about to be a father, or you're a new father, or maybe you just want to know what someone else's experience was like. Well, this video is for you. What's up guys, I'm Royce and you're watching our channel, Royce and Bekah, where we post every week about marriage and family life. Today I want to talk about something that's kind of personal to me, and that's my experience as a father. When Bekah and I first started talking about having kids, it was like, well, I wasn't sure if I wanted to have kids, to be honest, because there's just so many unknowns. Today I want to share with you guys 3 things that I was scared of or unsure of going into fatherhood and what I've learned since then. So the first thing is, before we had kids, I had never changed a diaper. Leading up to that, I'd come up with some pretty creative ways to avoid changing a diaper. A couple of times I did have to babysit kids that were in diapers. I had called on a friend or figured some way to get out of changing the diaper. And I'd made this commitment to myself that I was never gonna change a diaper until I had my first kid. Well, here's my first kid, now I have to change a diaper. I don't know what to do. And was I scared? Yeah. Am I gonna get peed on? Am I gonna get pooped on? What if the baby wiggles out of the diaper? Our daughter's born. And honestly, I expected a lot more instruction from the nurses, here's how to take care of our baby, but it's more like, here's the baby, have fun. But the one thing they did show me was how to change a diaper. And how do I close it?
They, just the Velcro gets put across here. And try and do it tight, because that way it won't leak up.
Okay, diaper number 1.
Yes.
And then I got a lot of practice right after that, every few hours in the hospital changing Philippa's diaper, because Bekah couldn't, because she was out of it, and she'd just given birth. If you've never changed a diaper before, that's okay. I don't regret not changing a diaper before Philippa, but it's not as hard as you might think it is, or as complicated. You just need somebody to show you one time, or maybe you can Google how to change a diaper. It's not rocket science, and it's not as gross as you might think it is. I mean, it is gross, but it's not like the movies make it out to be, where you have to walk in wearing a gas mask. Although Philippa ate tacos yesterday, and that was gross. Let me just say, very, 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 very gross. But she's 9 months old now, and baby's poop changes as they grow. When they're first born, it's not too big of a deal. And they're also not trying to wiggle off the table, which they try to do later. That's number 1. Changing diapers. Didn't want to do it. Avoided it as much as possible, but now that it's here, it's really not that big of a deal. Would I prefer not to change a diaper? Am I looking forward to the day when Philippa's potty trained? 100%, but it's not as big of a deal as I thought it was gonna be before we had kids. The second thing is, honestly, I didn't really feel comfortable around little infants. When I was younger, I didn't feel comfortable around children at all. Then I lived with a family of 4 young children for a few years, and that got me over that fear, but they didn't have any infants, and so I'd never really had any experience with babies. And I'm like, well, am I gonna drop the baby? Am I gonna break the baby if I touch it? Do I always have to hold its neck? Am I gonna kill it? I don't know. I was really nervous about that. What do you do with a baby beyond changing its diaper? How do you feed it? How do you wrap it up in a swaddle? How do you do the things that you need to do? I didn't know any of that. And spoiler alert here, they don't tell you any of this stuff in the hospital. They're like, oh, here's how you wrap the baby in 5 seconds. I'm like, well, I didn't see what you did. And then they walk out of the room. And the swaddling was the hardest thing that I never got it right. Some people are really good at it. My brother-in-law is the master of the swaddle, and I just never really got there. So if that's you, or if you're afraid of the swaddle, I'll link a swaddle down in the description that doesn't take any work, that's super easy, that you can kind of save that heartache and that crying and crying and crying while you try over and over and over again to get it right. Comes time to give the baby a bath, and I'm like, okay, my wife has done this before, because she's nannied for babies. But I'm like, okay, well, put them in the sink and turn the water on, and then what? I'm a person who likes to follow the right way. I like following instructions, so I know I did it right. You don't get that with the baby. It's here's a baby, good luck, I hope you can figure it out. I was reading through the book, What to Expect When You're Expecting, which is, I guess, mainly for women, I don't know, but it didn't really help me, because I still had no clue what to do when they first handed me Philippa. I'm like, each new challenge you learn. So I learned that I hate swaddling. I learned that I'm gonna buy something that I can just zip up, which is equivalent to a swaddle, but takes no time, no effort, and a lot less crying. I've learned how to change a diaper. And this kind of brings me to my third point, and it's that I didn't know what it meant to be a father, what a father does, how a father interacts with a child, and that's because my parents divorced at a really young age. And I had a relationship with my father, but it was a long distance relationship. And it's not the same thing as like growing up with your dad always being there, so I don't even know what they do. I don't know. So that kind of left me feeling, well, what do I do? What does a good dad or just a dad in general look like? Like, do I have to change who I am? Do I have to do these special things? Or I don't even know. One of the things that I go back to frequently is something that my mother-in-law said. It's that this little baby, this little person is going along with you in life. Your life isn't like fundamentally changing, that you become this completely different person and everything changes and you quit your job and this and that and that. I mean, there's change. Yes, there's a baby. Baby requires a lot of time and energy and effort, but they're still just kind of going along with you. So I do a lot of the same things now, but I just do them with Philippa. I think that's the biggest thing, is just taking time and intention. It's not like changing who you are and becoming a different person. It's just sharing that person with your child. Like, here are things that I think are important in life. Here are things I want you to care about. And just bringing them along. Let me show you the way. And so, for example, I love music, love music. And so I decided one day that I would just put some of my favorite YouTube artists on some of their music videos and just watch them. And Philippa loved it. She sat there with me for an hour, and she never sits with me. It's still hard, and I'm still figuring it out. And I know as she grows and gets older and is able to actually talk and reason with me, that's going to be a whole nother level of figuring out what it means to be a dad. When you have a kid, I think it's just more a reflection of who you are. And it I've heard people say that it magnifies the bad things and the good things in your own personality. And I really think that's true. And so really what it's become for me is, how do I bring her along in the things that we're doing? How do I make space for her? How do I interact with her? Because there's this other thing too, is like, back to the being uncomfortable with children. I'm not like the kind of person who's gonna go like make crazy clown faces and jump around the room. I'm just not like a super emotive person, and that's okay. I don't have to be a super emotive person. For me, it's more important to read her a book, or introduce her to a new song, or teach her some new word or something. And that's what makes Bekah and I a really good team, because Bekah's super emotive and super like demonstrative and everything. Together we work as a team. I'm not gonna be perfect. There are times when I'm gonna mess up. There are times you're gonna mess up being a dad, and there are times when my dad messed up, when your dads mess up. That is just the truth of life. We mess up. We can learn from those mistakes. We can apologize for those mistakes, and we can grow together. This isn't just a process of your child growing, but it's a process of you growing. And I think that's one of the cool things about parenthood. Those are the three things that I was kind of scared of and learned from as a new father, and that's, you know, changing a diaper, not being comfortable with kids, and learning what it really means just to be a father in general. What scares you the most about being a father? Or what scared you the most about being a father if you already are one? Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please consider subscribing. We post every week about marriage and family life. If you like this video, leave a like and hit that notification bell so you get notified every time we post new videos. And we will see you guys next time.